n to the a to the t to the h. Math is awesome. Mr. Ng's videos teach you a lot about math and to show your work, because if you don't show your work, then that's cheating, and we don't do cheating.
I guess that's wrong. You don't need to factor completely. Write the polynomial in the standard form, then name the polynomial based on its degree and number of terms. So just combine like terms. That gives you a negative. Let's see, double check, looking at mine. That is a negative 11x, and this is a positive, so that would give you a negative 5x squared, negative 8x plus 2. And so not one of these. And then a minus and a plus 2, and this is a quadratic because of the highest degree, and it's a trinomial because that means 3. There's 1, 2, 3 terms. Friends, algebra 12 turns.
Use the polynomial f of x equals negative 2x cubed plus 4x minus 8 and explain how the degree and leading coefficient will affect the end behavior. So the word degree is referring to the exponent. And the leading coefficient is talking about that negative, if there's a negative sign in front. And the word end behavior is just talking about those arrows. Remember, go back to the easiest odd degree you know. The easiest one is x to the first. What does x to the first look like? It starts down, ends up. The negative leading coefficient changes these points. So now the graph's going to look like this. Starts up, ends down. It's an odd degree, so you're going to have these arrows are in opposite directions. Evens will be in the same direction, like a quadratic. So the answer is B. The degree is odd, so we know all of these have odd, which is a good, that's why you couldn't eliminate it. Then the endpoints will be in opposite directions. Opposite directions. Let's see if they understood it. The ends opposite directions. Okay, this one has same. So this contradicts the word, because this should be the word even. Again, same. So that's a contradiction, right? Same would have to be even, and this is not an even. It's an odd because of the 3. And because the leading coefficient is negative, the graph will decrease. So the word decrease, you're reading graphs from left to right. So here my graph, my hill, my roller coaster is going down from right to left. Okay, so that's the key word, decrease.
Hey guys, let's go ahead and graph f of x equals negative 2x to the third plus 4x minus 8. We're going to go ahead and draw this. I know this is a odd degree, so that's going to look where we talked about, and then this is the leading coefficient that is negative. That's going to flip, and so instead of starting down going up left to right, it's going to start up and then end down. The goal is to draw this without Desmos or graphing calculator. The one that has no variable, this is called a constant. This is going to be your y-intercept, because if you make x equals 0, everything goes away, right? 0 to the third power times negative 2 plus 4 times 0, you just get negative 8. So this is my y-intercept of negative 8. This is just a rough sketch. It's going to look something like that. Number 2, if you notice on the axes in white there, I labeled the positive, negative, infinity. So when you read this sentence here, as x approaches negative infinity, on the x-axis you're going towards negative numbers, which is going towards the left, and I put it over here. So as I go towards the left, I'm going to draw these marks on my graph. Where's the graph going? The graph is going up. Well, how do you say up? You say up by writing on the f of x values, or the y values, positive infinity. That's what it means when you want to say the graph is going up. Let's do it the other way round now. As x approaches negative infinity, we're going towards positive numbers on the x-axis. We're going towards the right. So as I go towards the right, where's the graph now on the y-axis? It's pointing down. Down is negative numbers. So saying down would be just saying negative infinity.
Draw a polynomial function with the following characteristics. There are 4 characteristics. Here's the first one. When I see that sentence, this sentence frame, you should automatically think end behavior. What are you thinking, class? End behavior. Those are the key words. End behavior, you should be thinking of this. As x approaches positive infinity. So here's the x-axis. And when you're going in this direction, these are positive numbers. So we call that positive infinity. Therefore, on the x-axis, this direction would be called the what? Class? Negative. On the y values are negative, so this is called the negative infinity, and going up is the positive. The end behavior says as x approaches positive infinity. Which direction is that? Right. You're going right. F of x is the same thing as saying the y values. It also needs to go up. So as I'm going in this direction, I need up. So what I like to do is I just like to draw an arrow that's pointing up. As x approaches negative infinity, that's left. The f of x values must be negative. This means down. So as I'm going from right to left, the very end there, it should be a negative. That's the first characteristic. The second characteristic tells us that the y-intercept should be -2. It just means the graph has to go through -2. So what I like to do is I just draw a point like this. The third characteristic says 3 x-intercepts. Now here it doesn't tell us anything specific. It doesn't say multiplicity, right? All it says is, it doesn't say distinct. That's a better word you can use, distinct 3 x-intercepts. So you can put them anywhere you want. I put them here, 1, 2, and 3. And then lastly, it says 2 relative extremas. That means I need a max and a min. So there they are. So when you're drawing your graph, you should be going through the x-intercepts and try to go through the y-intercept. And those orange points, the extremas will come. You can just double check, like, all right, I have those. Okay. If you made a mistake on one of these, I gave you 3 points. I gave you 2 points if you made 2 mistakes, and I probably put an X by the bullet point that you missed to show you what you did wrong. Remember, in your quiz corrections, if there's not enough space, you might want to do it on a separate piece of paper, or definitely.
Alright, so this problem says determine each quotient using polynomial long division. So I wanted to see a long division. Write the dividend as the product of the divisor and quotient plus the remainder. So how many times is x going to 2x to the cubed? You can do a side problem here and simplify that, and you get 2x squared. Now you're going to multiply, and right there you're going to subtract. So 2 minus 2 is 0. Don't write it. -1 minus -4 means the opposite, so that means you get 4 and a -1, which gives you 3x squared. Bring that down, 13x. X goes into 3x squared, 3x times 3x times x gives you 3x squared and -6x, and then you're going to subtract 3 minus 3 is 0, -13 minus -6, so that's -13 plus 6 gives you -7x. Bring that down, -6. X goes into -7x, -7 times. Take that number, multiply, -7x, positive 14. -7 minus -7, that becomes plus, so that becomes 0. And then -6 minus 14, so -6 minus 14, they're both negative, so that's a -20 is your remainder. So my dividend is what's inside the division sign is equal to the divisor is what's on the outside. It tells us the product of the quotient, that's what's on top of the division sign,
right there, 2x squared plus 3x minus 7, and then the remainder is negative 20. So here you could have written actually, this is incorrect, but make sure you have the negative 20 and then you put it over the divisor at x minus 2. This is supposed to be inside the parentheses. If it was outside, it's just a negative 20. So either of those would have been full credit. Now, if you wrote just the quotient correctly, meaning this, then I gave you guys only 3 points because it tells you about the product. 2 points if part of your quotient is correct and or maybe your product was incorrect. This problem only got 3 points. Notice how there is no product. This problem right here, full credit, shows all the work. Nice. You can't see the score on this one, but this one's a 3. This 20 right here should have been negative right there, and then they don't show the
2 plus 2 is 4, minus 1, that's 3 quick maths. Everyday man's in the class, doing problems. See that problem board, that problem is easy. Thanks to Mr. Ing.